I would love to ask them what their understanding of borders is.
Hmm. I would say that's definitely a two worlds kind of situation because in the O'odham world we don't recognize these borders. It's home. It's continuously home from one side of the border to the other. We still recognize our mountains. We still recognize our sacred sites and our villages in what is now known as Mexico. And vice versa for the American or the US side. There's no separation of home, it's home. And there's the history is there, the stories are there, the songs that we still sing about the places and the places that we go to have ceremony, or where our ancestors are buried and where our ancestors still continue to be dug up along the border. That's continuous evidence of our existence here. So having that mentality is really helpful when you go into spaces where you're dealing with the politics of the border and border policies. When you're dealing with Border Patrol or the Department of Homeland Security, or even just when we're physically crossing the border ourselves and we have to flash our, tribal ID to identify, that we're up and we have the right to cross and cross freely for all these different reasons. It's it it definitely has. I've been in those situations, where I've been told, no, you can't do that. No, you can't cross. No, you can't share food with your people because of that line. Um, it's dangerous. It's all these different things that um, people or policies or, different situations try to kind of instill that culture of fear when it comes to the border. But the Ogden mentality tells you, no, there's nothing to be afraid of because that's still home. So that really gets to me. My dad's family, my grandparents come from the border. There's a community called excuse me, not Little Tucson, Wecij Oidag or Newfields. And so I grew up, I'm 37 now, and I grew up with my grandfather doing ranch work. He was a cowboy, and so being out on the land, crossing the border. At the time, I didn't realize it was a border. I didn't know it was a border. It was just a barbed wire fence and a cattle guard. It's nothing like it is now. And I didn't know that that's what I was doing with my grandpa and doing it freely, just doing work on the land and taking care of his cattle. Um, but seeing that change over the years, seeing the presence of Border Patrol increase, seeing the increase of militarization, and seeing what it is now, um, we have so much, surveillance technology on the nation, throughout the Tohono O'odham Nation, not just on the border, heavy presence of Border Patrol and checkpoints to every entrance and exit to the Tohono O'odham Nation, which is 2.8 million acres. It's the size of the state of Connecticut. So imagine um, living in, I think that helps put things into context for people is imagine you live in Connecticut and every road to leave or enter Connecticut has a checkpoint that you have to go through. And where they're going to ask you, are you a US citizen? Or who are you, or where are you going? And there's been so many different experiences throughout our short history with the border. The border has been there since the 1800s, but it's just a line. But after 9/11 and now with the politics of, the border and the border wars, drug wars, whatever, it's been a lot. It's been a lot to see and to experience, I think, especially for folks that are my age, because we're still young, but we're old enough to remember what it was like before all of the militarization and the presence of Border Patrol and being asked who you are on your own land. But also Just seeing what's happening now and seeing that it's going to continue into the future. So we have to maintain that O'odham mentality that we are the truth. We've had our presence here. We have a right to be here. We have a right to cross. We have a right to be who we are. Moving forward into the future, no matter what's going to come, we have to fight to be who we are. And unfortunately, dealing with the border is something that we have to navigate through, and we'll continue to navigate through. So